Good morning and welcome to another one of my chart comparisons. This time I'm working on the monthly and I'm looking for the 50% of the high to low of the global financial crisis, and I'll be going through a series of the indices. Now we're kicking off with the SPX, the S&P 500 in America, and we see that price has finally rallied up to this area. I'm using this blue line here, since it's going back and grabbing the high, the low, and giving the median point of that area. Now, price in the last month tried to get there, and it has been rallying hard all this month to try and get there. It finally got there in the last two market sessions. Now, interesting things on the Ichimoku side of it all. This is often very strong resistance. We see that this is now pointing downwards as we start dropping off highs up here. This is actually going to continue to lower until we start dropping off some lows or we create newer highs. So the next level that we're going to move into is that March rally of the 08, and you'll see it coming into effect on some charts which are obviously a little bit further advanced because they started the drop first. Now on the Ichimoku, I'm watching back here on the lag line. We see that we've formed a beautiful head and shoulders here, and it's actually quite balanced. Price came up here, it hit some resistance, we're in. I now have resistance sitting here, that's at around the 1130 mark. I also have a little bit more here. This price will come up and will hit resistance, I believe, here as well. That's around the 1150 mark, and I'm also able to get out to about 1180. Then I start hitting very strong resistance, and I feel it's pushing the charts. So currently I'm watching this point here, but then I also see that it's quite easy for this lag line to come back down into the low thousands, about 1130 in there, and just touching on the 1000 point here. This red line, which is 9 candles, is about to start dropping off some of these lows, and as you see, it is pointing north. So I'm looking at whether price can hold this area and use it as support, or is it going to come back down here and test into this region. The next chart that I brought up is the Dow Jones. We see that the price had already gone past this 50% range and has rallied but hasn't created any new highs. We see that again it's created this head and shoulders pattern of the V bottom, and that it's actually cleared the cloud, and yes, we have got support here. It's dipped down a little bit, and that probably puts it about the 10,200 mark, and we've actually got a bit of clear sky here and clear sky here. That looks like it can continue to rally and does have support. Again, this red line's racing up, currently at the 9,000 level. It'll be interesting to see where it finishes at the end of the month. This is the XJO, and we see that we have not reached the 50% level. I like price to greet this line when it comes out of my cloud, and it's going to be exactly on this level. It's around the 4,965 mark, give or take a few points, and we see that this lag line is just floating around in here and has a fair bit of clear space either side. Now we also see that price, this is based on closed price, managed to maintain the cloud, so we've got good support underneath, and we're now going to be using these lines as resistance. But that still brings us down into that 4,100 mark. I've got the red line climbing, that's at 4,200, and by the start of next month it will be climbing again that bit further. If price can get up to this 50% level, hold it, use it as support, that opens the door to going up into the high 5,000s. But we'll take that on after we see how price handles this 50% region. The DAX. Now I've done this over a slightly longer time period, just to show the element of its ranging, that the global financial crash wasn't necessarily a lower crash than the .com crash. What I've also observed is that prices come up, dipped, then broken through. Prices come up, dipped, then broken through. So this time we have price has come up, sitting above that 50% level. Price is in the cloud. I'll be looking for strong support at this green line here, and in the coming months, if price can come into here, that level increases and we'll be sitting up in here. I still need this red line to come back up, and we see again we have that head and shoulders pattern, and now we're waiting to see whether we can come up and join it back up into this region. Price is above this 50% level. We're above my blue line. I'd be looking again for support on that level. When we move into the Nikkei, we see that the crash started earlier. Therefore, we've reached this point and we're dropping again. Now, I've isolated this point here as being the 50% of the high and the low. And if we observe, see how that red line went flat there, it was using that and that, and we have rallied back to this point. Now, it has taken 5 months to get back to be able to challenge these highs. I'll be waiting to see how it reacts to this, and we now have the blue line coming down rapidly. Now, if we can hold this point, maybe it can rally again to try and get back up to the 50% line. Otherwise, this chart still looks very bearish, and we need to recapture this blue line. It's again something that I'll be watching for, and I'll be looking to see if we can hold around this 10,600 and 10,680 to 10,700. When we look at the Hang Seng, we see that price has been above the line. We got there and it rallied through it, and it has been climbing the edge of this cloud, and we are now using this as support. Now, it looked like it had been having a terrible week, but in reality it's still only just coming down to test that 50% level again. Price is in the cloud, and I've got resistance sitting up here. My guess is that that's around the 22,500 mark, and that has proved to be resistance. So as you can see, the top of that candle is roughly around that height, and that's what I'll be watching for. So I'll be using this blue line as support and that blue line as resistance, which is equal to around that cloud. So if we hit a purple patch and price rallies, we're capable of heading up into that 24,000 range and continuing to use this 21,000 level as some support. Again, we're waiting for this to come up. Once this red line hits this cloud, that's my gatekeeper, and we'll be interested to see how price reacts. We see that the Nikkei has a different shaped recovery. Lastly, we're looking at the FTSE. We see that the FTSE has been rallying. It's come up, taken on the 50% range 3 months ago. It has continued to just range either side of it. In recent action, we came off that 5,100 level, and we've rallied now into just cracking a new high at that 5,350 level. I think it's actually gone higher than that, but this is the equity. On a monthly it might not be updated. I thought we went up into the 5,400 level, so we're sitting up in here in strong resistance area. I'll be curious to see if this can continue to rally. I'm actually thinking this is a potential short if the Wall Street isn't comfortable on the next trading sessions. This isn't my ideal for going long. This is getting close to being my ideal for short, chasing the target back at that 5,100 level. Hope that clarifies some of it. Thank you.